What's up? This is another uh, article or story from way back. This is an article that was written back in 2003 by the Los Angeles Times, and the article is titled "Even Baseball is Out at Home in Rohnert Park. Minor league team gets the boot as amenities turn to liabilities in the Sonoma County town." And this is actually uh, kind of a pretty sad story. Um, this is about a baseball team in Northern California that doesn't exist anymore. There used to be a baseball team way back many years ago called the Sonoma County Crushers, and they got closed down. The team went bankrupt, or they didn't make enough sales or profit or whatever. And so the whole team or the baseball stadium got closed down. They went bankrupt or whatever. And the baseball stadium was bulldozed. This was a minor league team, by the way. And the baseball stadium was bulldozed, and now there's a Costco in Rohnert Park that is there at that spot now, because I guess the city could make more or made more money from Costco than the baseball stadium that wasn't doing too well when it decided to shut it down. But this is more than just there's more to this story than just the baseball team getting closed down or the baseball stadium getting destroyed or wiped out. The whole minor league was wiped out or doesn't exist anymore. I'm talking about there was about eight or ten my other there was about 8 or 10 other minor league baseball teams, and that whole league was closed down or went bankrupt. Doesn't exist anymore, and so it's not. This story is not just about one team, but all throughout Northern California. I mean, in other places besides Rohnert Park, this stuff also happened, or stuff similar to this also happened. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'll just start reading this. It says, Rohnert Park, California. Minor league baseball is gone from the Sonoma Valley. Tagged out in a rundown between a budget crisis and local ambition, the Sonoma County Crushers have been retired. After canceling the team's $1 a year lease on Rohnert Park Stadium earlier this year, the city is moving rapidly to trade off its humble shrine to America's pastime for a monument to a more modern fixation, shopping. The city officials plan to sell the stadium soon for about $11 million to a developer who hopes to build an upscale mall. I guess it's better economic survival versus baseball, and that's what we really have to look at, said Rohnert Park Mayor Armando Flores. Throughout the state in this year of budgetary woes, cities are not waiting for Sacramento to decide their fates. They are assuming the worst and making decisions that in the end may have more effect on the lives of many average Californians than the grander policies being debated in the state capitol. By law, the legislature has until Sunday to approve a spending plan that closes the state's $38 million budget gap. Any plan lawmakers approve will almost certainly include reductions in government services. Rohnert Park, population 42,500, is like many small and medium-sized cities in California that grew fast when times were fat. From its founding in 1962, the city bargained with developers to donate land and fees for parks, schools, churches, swimming pools, and even a performing arts center. No one seemed to worry that the bill to keep all those amenities going kept getting higher. Clear signals. I think it's fair to say all of us, not just Rohnert Park, but the state of California, we thought this boom economy was going to go on for a long time, said City Councilman Jake McKenzie, a retired EPA regulator who is the council's lone voice for slow growth. We knew what was coming, McKenzie said. There were clear signals that if the economy didn't continue to be robust in the late 1990s, there were going to be problems. Now hit by the dot-com recession that has gripped Northern California and facing a $3 million deficit that could nearly double when Sacramento makes its final cuts in state aid to local governments, Rohnert Park, about 55 miles north of San Francisco, has opted for a garage sale of city property. In addition to its stadium, the city council has put its administrative center on the block, along with the former site of the Sonoma County Wine and Visitors Center, some well sites, and a teen center. Officials are open to more suggestions. The council fired 7 of 9 department heads, deciding to run the city administration with a finance director, chief of public safety, and city manager. Among the measures being considered, mowing the park lawns less often and dimming the park lights earlier. We're talking about whether we're going to draw the lines on our soccer fields, said City Finance Director Sandy Lippitz, who has struggled to close the projected shortfall in the city's $26 million budget by July 1st. But in a master planned city that brags of a dozen parks on nearly 90 acres, 5 public swimming pools, and 2 municipal golf courses, it is the loss of baseball that has hit home. Doug Jordan, an assistant professor at nearby Sonoma State University, moved from Arlington, Texas to Rohnert Park last summer and went to 8 Crushers games. At night, the bleachers often were as chilly as Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The pitching was so-so, and the independent Western League has been struggling to stay in business, but it was grassroots baseball set on the pastoral backdrop of the Sonoma Valley. Quality of life. The abominable Sonoma man, a grape-stomping Bigfoot, regaled the crowds, and team owner Bob Fletcher stood at the gate personally, thanking patrons for coming. One of the things the city likes to brag about is its quality of life, Jordan said. Part of that is minor league baseball without having to go down to San Francisco. It wasn't costing the city anything. I think they have lowered the quality of life permanently in an attempt to find a short-term solution. From any bleacher seat in the gray low-rise stadium, the future of small-town baseball was visible last season over the right field fence, where the bright red letters of a Costco warehouse loomed large. With growth in property taxes restrained by Proposition 13, officials in cities such as Rohnert Park frequently see commercial growth and expanded sales tax revenue as the only way to pay for a high-maintenance, middle-class bedroom community. A patchwork of alphabetically ordered subdivisions, Rohnert Park is a later-day offspring to the levee towns of the East Coast. Built on a seed farm, the city was drawn up as a tight federation of neighborhoods where children would have to walk no more than a third of a mile to schools and parks. Often sneered at by its more suffused neighbors such as Santa Rosa and Petaluma, Rohnert Park has blossomed into a successful, albeit centerless town. We have some really nice things that in many ways require a lot of maintenance, Mayor Flores said. Our residents have grown to enjoy and appreciate those amenities. We always knew charging the Crushers $1 a year would not always be a sound financial decision, he said. The land became increasingly more valuable. Flores rattled off the parks and pools, Alicia, Benicia, Ladybug, Honeybee, Magnolia, scattered throughout the city. are spacious, well lit, and with striped and manicured playing fields. As the economy started to deteriorate and we went into recession, we could probably have decreased the scope of services, he said. But like many in the state, officials in Roanoke Park avoided cuts until they had no choice. Michael Harrow, an accountant who was the city's finance director for 15 years until resigning 3 years ago, said he seethed as he watched the council build a $1 million pool, the city's fifth, and construct the baseball stadium for $2 million in the 1980s, a decade that also saw a performing arts center rise and take up $400,000 in annual subsidies. I told them, at the rate you're going, you'll be broke in 5 years. And sure enough, I was right, Harrow said. Harrow ticked off a list of management decisions, including generous pay raises and pension plans, throwing up his hands in disgust. I'm glad I don't have to think of this stuff anymore, he said. It drove me nuts. Uh, and another thing I'd like to bring up is, yeah, it's true when it was talking about the economy and stuff. Uh, California uh, had a bunch of economic problems. I mean, first you had the Gulf War recession, and then you had the dot-com recession, and then obviously you had all the Bush garbage. But like it was talking about the California economy during the 80s and the 90s. A big part of it was Silicon Valley. That was like the big thing that used to run California, was Silicon Valley. And once that place went down, or once that place disappeared, uh, was outsourced, the factories left. I mean, a lot of people lost their jobs and stuff. A lot of companies disappeared, and so that smashed uh, the California, or that hit the California state real hard, because it was uh, electronics. A big part of California was based on that electronics and high paying uh, uh, industrial, like all the electronic computer stuff, all the computer factories. And like you're probably watching this, you know, on a computer made in China or whatever, or the internet, all the customer services like phones and stuff, AT&T from India or whatever. All that stuff went out there to Asia, and yeah, California got damaged by that big time. And then it didn't help when California also had the Enron scandal, where basically California, they lost, you know, huge amounts of money that got pocketed by the Enron company. I remember as a kid being in school, and a bunch of other times when there were power outages, and there wasn't really a power outage, it was just to get more money or whatever. And and so the state lost huge amounts of money from those electrical prices, or electricity scandals and stuff. And it wasn't the like the state, like when the California state lost all that money, they ended up having to pass that bill, the Enron bill, to the taxpayers or people and stuff, and so forth. This is a pretty long article, so I will continue this in a second part.